Welcome to another episode of Systematic Geekology. This is a space where we seek to create and cultivate healthy conversations between those things we geek out on and the philosophical and theological questions that often arise out of our fandoms. Like, what does it mean to be human? What makes a hero? What makes a villain? How do the stories and narratives we geek out on shape how we live in the world? We are your priest to the geeks. We aren't all ordained, but we see ourselves as mediators at the intersection of geek culture and going deeper in our faith. We don't always have to agree, but we do respect each other, and we see everyone as a beloved child of God. Everyone geeks out on something, so come geek out with us and enjoy the show.
This show is a proud member of the Anazal Podcast Network.
Is a Mandalorian movie what Star Wars needs right now? Is the new Punisher special a worthy addition to the character story? And what is going on with DC? We have a lot to talk about tonight or late afternoon, wherever you are in the world, in this episode of What's News. This is Systematic Geekology. We are the priest of the geeks, and during our What's News episodes, we talk about all the latest things going on in geek culture. So that little intro gave you a preview of what we're going to talk about in this episode, and I hope you stick around and enjoy. I am one of your geekologists, Kevin Schaeffer, here with my good friend, Christian Ashley, X-Wing pilot. Christian, how are you?
Doing well. Had a really good day. A lot of good geeky content out to discuss. I'm really happy about this one. Wish other people were able to join us, but unfortunately, schedules didn't align. We'll shout out real quick to Evan. He did the work on the slides, and you can tell he did the work on the slides because they actually look good. Him and Andy, they actually do good work.
They are like our slide professionals by far. But yes, we were going to have Evan and Jill on this one, but schedules didn't line up. But we're also, we are making a Mandalorian and Grogu review a part of tonight's episode, but we're also going to do a separate episode that will be a more in-depth one. So this is more just kind of like, we just saw the movie, this weekend, and we're going to do initial reactions, but we also have other topics to cover. So we'll do a whole episode devoted to your thoughts on the movie, as well as like future of Star Wars movies and whatnot. Will Rose is on sabbatical, but he has to be on that one. He's already said, so we'll make that happen and get him and Jill and Evan on that. So that'll be fun. But for now, so thank you for tuning in, whether you're here on YouTube or you are listening to this later on any of our platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. We really appreciate you. And if you are new, welcome to Systematic Geekology. I know there are a lot of geek podcasts out there, but thank you for clicking play on this one. We hope you have a good time. And if you want to support the show, if you click on the link in the description, you can find out ways you can become a fourth wall supporter, and you can check out some awesome merchandise we have on our store. You can follow us on social media. A lot of ways to connect with us. We're very accessible. And I want to give you a shout out to one of our supporters, Annette Knoll. Annette, thank you so much for your support of the show. We really appreciate it. But yes, please like, rate, subscribe, review. We really appreciate it. And before we get into our main topics, let us go to a lightning round where we hit on some of the cool things we've been geeking out on lately. So, Christian, let's start with you. What are some things you've been geeking out on?
Yeah, on the Marvel comics side of things, we're gearing up for the Armageddon event headed by Chip Zdarsky. I've been enjoying his Captain America run. The miniseries with Wolverine has been fun too, kind of leading up to what's happening there. People are talking like it could be potentially like Crisis on Infinite Earths to an extent. I think that's like an overhyping. People talking about revamping and rebooting Marvel stuff, which would be interesting if they did. So Zdarsky's behind it, and for the most part, he's been one of my guys. Pretty solid overall.
Zdarsky's one of the best creators, I think, working today. I mean, everything he touches is just brilliant. Whether it's his indie work, his Daredevil run is phenomenal. Excellent pick there. But yeah. Anything else on your end?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. We're talking about most of them today.
Okay, sounds good. But yeah. I just have two quick ones. Also on the Marvel and DC end, but any comics readers probably know they've been doing a lot of Marvel DC crossovers lately, and some of them have been okay, some have been interesting. But the one that I really loved was the Spider-Man Superman one shot that Brad Meltzer wrote. So there's two you can read, because like for each of these they've done like the DC first one and then the Marvel first one. This is the Marvel first one, so published under Marvel. And I really love the main story here, but I also love it. This was a pretty stacked issue that comes with 7 additional stories from all-time great creators. And I don't know about you, but sometimes like when I pick up an issue like that where there are a bunch of backup stories, typically I enjoy like half of them, and then the other ones are kind of like, and whatever. This one was like banger after banger. I mean, there were ones I enjoyed more than others, but I did reading through all of those, I didn't find one I disliked. Like I thought it would, like there was a one that paired Gwen Stacy with with Lana Lang, and then one of my favorites was the Spider Noir in Superman, and it was like the classic Superman. That was great. So
the Fleischer kind of,
yes. Oh, it was fantastic. So excellent book all around. I was in Charlotte last weekend, and I picked that up from the Heroes Aren't Hard to Find store. So really love that. Cannot recommend it enough. Yeah. Oh, it's the best. They got the Spidey and the Doc Ock on the wall. It's always a place I have to visit anytime I'm in Charlotte. So great book. Definitely recommend that. And the beauty of it too is if you're not even a regular comics reader, it's a very accessible, but I mean, it's a very self-contained stories. So go pick that one up. A lot of great creators in there. The other one, and I'm gonna have to do a whole episode on this. I mean, you and I need to talk about this at some point. I don't know if you've gotten to see it yet, but there's a lot of buzz about the new horror film Obsession. And rightfully so. Christian, are you familiar with it at all?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday. It blew me away. I mean, this was I don't want to give too much about the premise, but because I really want people to go in kind of fresh. But it boils down to be careful what you wish for. And a guy takes like a magic stick, wishes for something that he thinks is harmless, and then the repercussions of that he has to deal with. And the rave around this film, a lot of it has to do with the performance by Indy Navarrete, who I knew from Superman and Lois. She played the daughter of Lana Lang there, and I thought she was great in that show. But she gives a powerhouse performance in this film that, again, I really don't even want to talk about too much because I just want people to go ahead and see it. It's already doing spectacular. It was made on a shoestring budget. Curry Barker, the director, is a YouTuber, and I think it was like made on a budget of like $1 million, which is crazy. And it's already grossed like 100 million something. So that gives me, I always love hearing that when, creator driven passion projects, that are made on extremely low budgets do this well and resonate with a lot of people. But yeah, this is just horror at its finest. There are no like cheap jump scares. Even when I saw a couple of the jump scares coming, they still terrified me. I mean, it was just the visceral execution of it was wonderfully done. There's both dark comedy and horror in it. I cannot recommend this enough. So that's easily one I'm going to be talking about for a while. I cannot imagine it not making my top 10 of the year. It's already, in my top 2 or 3 of what I've seen so far this year. But I would be amazed if, it doesn't make the top 10 at the end of 2026. So go see Obsession. If you've seen any reviews and praise about it, all of that is deserved. So, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, Christian, that is our lightning round picks. We've got a lot of main topics to talk about tonight, though. The first is The Punisher, One Last Kill. Even though this is not one last kill, because there are a lot of kills in this 45-minute special. So Christian, do you want to give a brief recap of what this is and the whole Marvel presentation format?
So after his last appearance in Daredevil Born Again, Frank Castle has tried to be on the run for a little bit, find a new place for himself. And he's also kind of at a crisis point of like, why do I keep going? Like I'm fairly certain he's killed everyone involved with his family's death. And Kingpin is still out there, but like, he wasn't one of the ones directly involved or anything. So he's having a crisis of not really, I guess, faith in his belief in in his crusade. And, he almost comes to the point where he commits suicide, but he's having all these breakdown psychologically, seeing people who aren't there, one of which being his daughter, encouraging them to live. Another we see later on being Karen Page, kind of in a very twisted way in a bit. But he is met by this woman in a wheelchair who has suffered immensely and said her family has been taken from her. And we find that she is actually Ma Nucci of the Nucci family, of which Frank killed the vast majority of them. There are still gang members, but the family is gone. She's all that remains. And she has called a hit on him. She's found out where he lives, and she is indiscriminately sending her thugs into this apartment building to wipe out everyone there, hoping at least one of them will claim, the kill of the Punisher himself. Maybe that being one last kill would be that person who gets the last kill on Frank actually gets the money, maybe is what they were going for. I'd have to rewatch it again, which this is really good for less than an hour. Him battling through, regaining his sense of self. Is a person like Frank Castle good for the world? Well, for Marvel, yes. Not so much for us, but that's part of who he is. So I really enjoyed it. I want to hear what you have to say, Kevin.
That's right. No, a great summary there. For me, so I'll preface it by saying, I love Bernthal. I've actually met him and Deborah Ann Wool, and he's just as awesome in person as you. Both of them are great. I met them for like 30 seconds, but they were super nice. And it's one of my favorite convention pictures. But I'm a big Punisher fan. I like the comics a lot. And even dating back to before this series, like I think the Thomas Jane movie is pretty underrated. So it was probably one of the more earlier R-rated movies I had seen, and I always kind of liked the character, and I really liked the show. I have to say, there are things about this I liked in terms of the format. Like I liked the whole special presentation. It feels sort of like a single issue of a comic, and so I like when Marvel takes advantage of that. That said, I wasn't overly impressed by, because I was excited by when it said that Bernthal was going to co-write this, and I know how passionate he is about the character. I was like, oh, that's cool. But I do think it could have been a better script. It was mainly because so I had just rewatched the show leading up to this, and I was caught up on Born Again, and the thing that kind of annoyed me about this, I know you were talking about he's at this point where oh, should he continue or not? But the show already kind of dealt with that ad nauseum, in my opinion, of where, we saw the trajectory of him, should I keep going? Should I not? Dealing with PTSD, dealing with the ramifications of his actions. And at the end of season 2, it ends with him fully embracing the Punisher role and going on missions. And mainly because we had already seen a lot of that. This is only a 45-minute special. I was kind of annoyed that the first 20 minutes is just like a retread of that, where he's again coping with the PTSD. And I know there are a bunch of memes about Bernthal when he does the grunting and the and all that, and also his iconic line in every one of his roles. Let me tell you something. Which I'm not opposed to. I love him as an actor. But it was just okay. For a 45-minute special that, again, has the feel of a single issue of a comic, I kind of wanted it to get to his point sooner. I thought about it after. I'm like, it could have been, let's say, his daughter's birthday, and it starts with him at the grave, and he does a monologue to her, but at the end of the monologue be like, okay, but I gotta go to work, because I just didn't really need 20 minutes of him still wrestling with his demons and trying to figure out, and I kind of wanted it to get to the action and the mission a little sooner. And then by the time it did get to the action, first of all, I did love Ma Nucci, because that is a character from the Garth Ennis run that they do a lot of fun stuff, and then that's very over the top, and I thought that was a good addition here, something that they hadn't done in the original Netflix series. And also getting Judith Light to play her was really cool. But then once it got to the action, finally, the action, it was fine, but it wasn't oh my gosh, worth the build up there to it. It felt very a video game, very trying to be like John Wick, but not quite. So overall, this just felt like, I like the format. I always love seeing the character back, and I would love a full-on Punisher movie. And you could tell also from this that both Bernthal and the director Ronaldo Marcus Green, this kind of felt like a proof of concept for a movie that they want to make. And I don't know why Marvel doesn't just go ahead and green light that, because it's going to be way cheaper than a lot of their really big budget superhero and sci-fi epics. So, you could make a Punisher movie, put it in theaters, and I think it would easily make its money back, if not more. And so I would rather see that at the point. Again, I want to see more of these special presentations. I think it's a cool format, but I just think this one could have been a lot better. So it was fine, but it ultimately left me wanting more and left me a little disappointed.
Hello there, listener. This is Evan Garcia, and I just wanted to jump in here to remind you and to let you know of our Facebook groups and our Discord server. These are great communities where you can post and share memes and talk with the hosts, and we have votes and some polls for future episode topics and fun interactions with our hosts. So just wanted to remind you that we are focused on community with you listeners, and we love each and every one of you guys listening. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I'll say my biggest criticism is that it just kind of ends at a certain point. It's more like, and the story continues, which, if you're doing one comic, that's fine, because, as long as the series hasn't been canceled, it's going to keep going. And yeah, he's going to be in the next Spider-Man movie, but I highly doubt we're going to see Manucci or anything brought up there. It's from the leaks I've read, seems like a totally different direction. So I was not big on. I get what you're saying, in that, in both of those seasons, he's gone through this whole thing of, oh my gosh, am I going to do this again? Is my journey over? And what's going to bring me back? And I think they do it well enough here for me. Like, I'm still with you to an extent, in that, they're retreading ground, and they not waste 20 minutes, but they go on longer than they should. And the idea of, he sees the little girl in trouble and goes, obviously, he sees her as his daughter, even though their relationship that's brand new. But like, well, if that can happen to my daughter, it can also happen to her. Can I let that happen again? And knowing that now that Bernthal wrote this, I see a younger writer behind it, as in like fresh.
Sure.
So that makes more sense to me now, all things considered. And you know what? This is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It's like the Midnight. Goodness, not the Midnight Suns. What was the Werewolf by Night?
Werewolf by Night. Yep. I think it was just Werewolf by Night. Yeah.
I was like, introduced these characters to me in a limited amount of time. They did it well enough. Like many Marvel characters over phase 5, 6, wherever the heck we are now. It's like, we've shown them, and now maybe 6 or 7, 8 years later down the road, we'll bring them back again, which is infuriating in many regards, because modern Hollywood will be a topic of discussion later on too.
Oh, 100%. And and I am really curious to see what the future of the character will be. I'm so stoked to see him in Spider-Man, because especially for fans of the comics know that Punisher's first appearance was in an issue of Amazing Spider-Man as an antagonist there. And so I think that's, it will be really come full circle. Again, I would love to see a Punisher movie. I also thought it would have helped this too if they had tied it a little more into Born Again, in terms of where exactly this takes place and why this area specifically is so run down. Because I saw one comment somewhere that was I think it would have been cool if a newscast had said Vanessa had just died here, and as a result, Fisk was so distraught that he left this area completely unattended, because that was the one kind of defining piece of his reign as mayor, was he was cracking down on crime, and he was having the task force all throughout. And here it's people are just killing each other in broad daylight with there's no law enforcement anywhere. Abandoned. Right, it's just Wild West. And so I was wondering about that, just the timeline. Again, I don't need an over explanation, but especially just because we had just seen him in Born Again season 1, and he was absent from season 2, which a lot of that I think is because why. acknowledge why. I mean, other than the fact that Bernthal is in everything right now, and probably didn't have time, but but also make a reason for the character not to have been there. But yeah, I mean, there was still entertaining aspects of this, but and I would be down for more of these. Like, I think, do you have any characters in mind who a special presentation would be ideal for? I was trying to think about that too. Yeah.
I mean, if we were doing like more cosmic stuff, I'd say like a Nova would be perfect for something like that.
Yeah.
Because you could easily seed stuff like the Annihilation Wave as in like something that could be a major factor in a movie later on, or even like a mini series.
I think with the X-Men coming up too, they could with the X-Men coming
absolutely.
up, like you can do individual characters.
Features? Yes, that'd be perfect. Yeah, there's plenty they could do with this, because with a limited format here, we're introducing the character to you, or like giving time to narrow down focus to them, and I'm sure this didn't take as long to film as plenty of other things as a result of that, and I think they're going to get their monies back on this and then more.
Totally.
So maybe this will encourage them to do other stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think about, whichever mutants that they do introduce. Like, I've heard everything from they're going to focus on, like, the original 5 when they do the reboot, but it's, like, going to be more based on the Claremont run, so I'm curious about that. But you could easily do, I mean, if you want to do, like, a Beast or a Jean Grey special, or, like, one of the, like, bigger side characters, like a Gambit. Oh, my gosh, that would be perfect, like, down the road. I mean, that would also be, like, for the Gambit movie that was never made, I think, a special presentation would be really cool. But yeah, so I do like this format.
Based on leaks, based on leaks, we may be seeing one of those pretty soon.
Yeah, I've heard. Oh, yes. So there's a lot coming, but yeah. Anyway, I mean, Punisher is always, again, a favorite character for me. I love Bernthal. Wasn't crazy about this special, but that said, if this team wanted to do a full-on Punisher movie later on, I would be all for it. I just think, and I do want to see more with like Manucci, because again, that was a really fun storyline in the Garth Ennis run, the Welcome Back Frank. That would also be a perfect title for the movie too. But yeah, I mean, and hey, he could even pop up in, if they want to put him in a more cosmic environment, like he could pop up in Secret Wars or something like that. They could do something along the lines of like Punisher kills the Marvel Universe, like they did in the comics at some point. So, I mean, I want to see him in other stuff. But yeah, I just hope for a slightly better narrative. And also, just last note on this, that image, if you're watching on YouTube, the slide here, that image in the middle there, that's the closing shot of the special. I thought that was peak right there. That's just like, that is Punisher. The full suit. He's just towering over this goon who does a very unspeakable thing that they had. That was the other. They had to go there with the dog at the beginning. But I love that he's just like towering over. There's no debate in his mind there what he's going to do. So that's Punisher. Let's move on next to DC. There's actually a couple of things DC to talk about. First is the new Lanterns trailer. So on a previous What's News episode, we talked about the first teaser that had, as the internet reacted to it, had no green in it whatsoever, and it felt like just, True Detective style. And I said it, I think on that What's News, I was like, guys, I think this is more just a teaser. We've already seen Guy Gardner in the Superman movie, and this is in the same universe. I think we're going to see a lot more. That was just kind of a teaser to capture the feel. And this, I think, is a more proper Lanterns trailer that shows a little more of not only the Green Lantern stuff going on, but what this show is going to be about. We see a lot more of Hal and John here. I'm really looking forward to this. Christian, what were your kind of thoughts on? Because I don't know if I can't remember if you were on that one where we talked about the first teaser. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, what are your kind of like overall thoughts about this series in terms of what we know about it currently and with this trailer?
Mixed.
Yeah.
Mostly positive, but mixed. Like Jon Stewart, love him ever since I first saw him in Justice League. We've talked about that before. It's like, oh, I never knew he existed. Like I knew Hal Jordan existed, Kyle Rayner, knew nothing about John. And that's what encouraged me to read some of the stories that my dad had in his, comic collection about him. But when I say mixed, it's like, I'm still like, yeah, I'm going to watch this, but it's like, have they said anything before about how Jordan being as old as he is, or is this something that was revealed in this trailer? Am I forgetting something?
Other than, like, I mean, I remember when Kyle Chandler was cast, and they haven't specified exactly the timeline and, like, you know, told explicitly why he is older, why, you know, John is just coming in as a recruit now. So I think we'll learn more about that now. The theories I've seen, and one I probably am leaning toward, is that they're going to go the Parallax route, you know, by the end of the series, that Hal will become Parallax, and they wanted him to make him kind of like older as a result. I mean, it's very clear that that like Hal and Guy have both been around for a while. I mean, Guy was an established Green Lantern in the Superman movie, so the corpse has been around. Like, you know, the mythology. You know, this is going to be very much, I think. I do think that John is going to be the main point of view character as the rookie coming in. But yeah, I mean, they've still been pretty shy about specific story details. Like, I mean, back when James Gunn announced the overall like phase 1 Gods and Monsters pitch, I mean, he said Lanterns was part of that initial plan, and he said it was going to be Hal and John, and it was like True Detective inspired. So all of those elements were, you know, have been known for a while. But they've still been pretty, you know, quiet about exactly what the mystery is that they're investigating. You know, the rookie element, you know, when John's going to get his ring, all of that. So that's what honestly has me really interested. And I do like the creative team. I think, you know, I know that they're controversial creators here too. I mean, depending on your tastes, but like, it's like Damon Lindelof and Tom King are two of the creators. And so, I mean, both of them have done some of my favorite things of all time. Some of them, like, you know, not as much, but they're both, you know, obviously big fans of the comics, and I'm really interested in seeing what they'll bring to it. Because I mean, Green Lantern, to be honest, is a really hard property to adapt outside of animation. So I get wanting to try to craft something that is unique and that captures the spirit of the comics, but is also going to appeal to a broader audience. So yeah, I'm really curious what's going to happen here, but we definitely do see a lot more green in this trailer. We see more of the cosmic elements, even though it's going to take place on Earth. And Hal seems more jaded, and, you know, he's kind of thrust into this mental role. He's definitely the most curious thing about, like you said, what they're going to do with the show and how they're going to present him. I love Kyle Chandler as an actor, and I love Aaron Pierre. We'll talk about it next too, but, Aaron Pierre has already been confirmed for Man of Tomorrow. I think they're clearly setting him up as like kind of the main Lantern going forward. So I'm curious what they are going to do with Hal. So it'll be really interesting. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch it. I like seeing more of the effects and everything in this trailer. And I kind of like not knowing a ton other than the vibe and some of the influences.
Yeah, I guess the ambiguity is kind of what's making me more hesitant overall. And like why does Hal have to be as old as he is? Why does it look like he's giving the ring at some point in time, maybe to John, instead of John being given the ring by the Corps? Or could that just be the trailer lying? And so it happens completely different, and they both have rings. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's just, you know, my initial reaction to the trailer was, I don't know. I'm still going to watch, but I don't know.
Sure, that's fair. And Andy had a similar reaction to the first teaser, because he actually had no idea that it was like True Detective and all that. And so he was just like, this doesn't look like Green Lantern. So I'm kind of like very cautious here. And I haven't really talked with many people who don't really know anything about Green Lantern and what their thoughts on this are. But I'd be curious to, and, you know, I'm at this point, I'm really stoked for more DC this year. I mean, it's been a minute since Peacemaker season 2. I know we got Supergirl right around the corner, and then Lanterns, and then Clayface, which I'm really stoked about. But that's
I can't believe I'm saying that, but I agree.
Oh my gosh, that may actually, I mean, stoked for Supergirl. I love that comic that it's based on, but Clayface might be my most anticipated of those three. It's hard to tell. I'm excited about all of them, but yeah.
The Supergirl one was like, I figured that was going to be the slam dunk, but like,
Yeah.
after having suffering through many Sony villain films without the main, character of the universe in them, like focusing on a Clayface, even with the people behind us, I don't know, but like they're winning me over.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as it was, I knew that it was a Mike Flanagan script, even though he can't direct it because he has too many other projects going on. But the director, I saw he did a horror movie with James McAvoy a few years ago that I liked. So that one's but I am stoked for Super. I'm trying to remember the title off the top of my head. It was like him and his wife and son go to like this like neighbor or not a neighbor, but like they meet this couple on a trip and get invited to their country house.
That's right. I can't remember either, but I watched it forever ago.
Yeah, it was entertaining. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, amazing, but it was an entertaining Friday night horror movie. But yeah. So that's Lanterns. Also, speaking just DC wise, some of the big news that dropped recently is the casting for the Batman Part 2, which is finally in development. I know a lot of people have been like, when is that movie coming out? Real quick, I will say, I would rather quality over quantity. So, even though it's been a long wait for this movie, hey, if that's what it takes to make it what Matt Reeves and his creative partners want it to be, I'd rather it be good than it have been rushed, because we have seen many movies rushed that where the quality suffered. So but this cast list, oh my gosh! So in addition to the returning members, we have the big news that dropped was Sebastian Stan is Harvey Dent, which I think is just perfect casting there. And not only that, but even more iconic Marvel veteran, Scarlett Johansson will be Gilda Dent. That was just like, heck yeah. We have Charles Dance as, he is Harvey's father, right? I think.
I believe so.
Yeah. And then Brian Tyree Henry, who an unconfirmed role yet, but I think there have been rumors, but he's also one of my favorite working actors right now. Of course, Colin Farrell is back as Penguin. Obviously Pattinson and Andy Serkis back as Alfred, and Jeffrey Wright back as Gordon, and then but we do know, as you can tell just from the cast list alone and the confirmed roles, that this is going to be very based on Long Halloween. Which the only thing about that, I'm still very excited for this movie, but I saw a meme about this that was like, hey, I'm a filmmaker making a Batman movie. Which storyline should I adapt? And it has this huge library, and they're like, and then he just pulls out Batman Year One and Long Halloween again. And it is kind of laughable how many times we've already seen Long Halloween, either maybe not done in its entirety, but very much inspired. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, The Batman, and even, elements of it inspired the Penguin series as well. So that's my only, if I had to say a hesitancy is, and don't get me wrong, Long Halloween is the comic that really got me into comics. I was already into superheroes at the time, but that was a book I read in sixth grade, and that was the beginning of my obsession with not only Batman graphic novels, but just the medium as a whole. And so, it's a very formative book for me, and I would love to see more of it on screen, but I also am at the point where it's like, guys, there are other Batman stories too. But nonetheless, this casting news is pretty fantastic. I don't know. Christian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Waiting this long, yes, I would rather have a more perfected script, but communication would have been nice over this time. I don't like being ghosted for a very long time. Just being honest about, hey, I'm 40% done or whatever. That's something versus nothing. But I'm still hyped for it. I'm still willing to head into it. The set pics we've seen looks like it's going to be in winter at some point in time, heavy snowfall. That's why some people have been speculating that Mr. Freeze may be involved. I don't think that may be a misdirect, especially if they're doing the Long Halloween stuff. Because we got aspects of Year One in the Batman, and of course the other ones, and we've had the animated movies too. So going there from there makes sense for me. Yeah, solid casting here. Like, I mean, Charles dance alone. What more do you need to say? Like, I'm ready for it.
Big time. And I really think Matt Reeves just lives in a bat cave when he's not making movies. So that's probably why we haven't heard from him. I think he just like hid from the world while he was writing this. But yeah, I know. I mean, I loved the first one. I mean, in some ways, I wish. Like I go back and forth on whether I would want Pattinson to be the DCU Batman. Because my only like hesitancy is like all these great actors here. It's like. But that means that they can't, if he's not the DCU Batman, when they eventually do make DCU Batman, they can't use any of these cast members for those roles. And that's a little, it's like, I wish they could. But, you know, I mean, I still hear back and forth. I don't think it would happen, but at the same time, James Gunn has had some ambiguity in that. So I think he's wrestled with it. But, you know,
too.
Yeah.
His whole thing is that he wants it to be a Batman with Damian Wayne, with the Brave and the Bold kind of idea.
Right.
And like, it doesn't make sense for, Pattinson at this point in time to be there unless they're like,
Sure.
This is the origin story and we're going to go in the future, even though he's going to look the exact same in some films. Like,
Sure. And yeah, it would be hard to do. I'm just like, that. It's another one is I'm hoping for updates about that movie as well. I mean, I like that we're getting focused on other characters in DC, but of course everyone wants to know, okay, what's going on with Batman Brave and the Bold. But yeah, this one I'm super stoked for. And only other quick thing I'll say is like with Man of Tomorrow, they announced that, I said that Aaron Pierre is joining. They also announced that Matthew Lillard has joined the cast, which they haven't confirmed the role. I've seen everything of people wanting him to play Plastic Man. I think he would be great as that. I saw a rumor too that he's going to be Jay Garrick, which is an interesting choice, but I just love him as an actor. I thought, and he was great in Born Again recently. I feel like he's a little young to play Jay Garrick, but I mean, I trust Gunn for whatever he wants to do there. Yeah, that's not confirmed at all. That was a rumor I saw, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go on IMDb, he is listed in the cast, but no role confirmed. So
okay,
awesome. But that's DC right now. We'll have more to say as projects come out. But now on to, I know everyone is itching to hear our thoughts. Again, we are going to do a longer episode on the Mandalorian and Grogu, and just like the future of Star Wars in general. But Christian and I have both seen the movie. Christian, you want to start with your thoughts? I mean, because we don't really need to do, not that the plot is that hard to summarize, but I don't think we have to but I am really curious. We have not shared our thoughts with each other yet. So I'm curious what your initial ones were.
I enjoyed the film. I'm watching it again tomorrow of my own free will, because I enjoyed the film. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for the other 5 episodes that were supposed to come with my film.
That's fair. No, I mean, like, I would say mine is pretty similar. I saw, like, Evan and Will loved it. I thought, my reaction was almost exact. I try not to go into movies with, like, too many expectations, good or bad, but my reaction was pretty much exactly what I expected. It was a fun time. I went with a group of friends and we had a good time. I liked it. It's not offensively bad or great by any means. It's like literally right in the middle of like fun adventure. Since the show premiered, I wanted to see these characters on the big screen. I think it would have been better to do a season 4 and like release the first couple episodes in theaters. And that was the original plan. I mean, this was very much an executive level decision for why this movie exists. And we'll talk about that more too. But Favreau had written outlines for a season 4 originally, and then they scrapped it when they got ordered to make this as a movie. I still think you could have made a full-on like proper movie here and a narrative without sacrificing much, but this very much did feel like about 2.5, maybe 3 episodes as a movie. And if you like that, that's great. But there was also more story to tell. For me, it's just there's not a lot to say about the narrative because it's pretty much like they go on a few missions and I was thinking about things happen. I cannot really definitively say that Mando Din Djarin or Grogu really have any kind of substantial character development at any point. I mean, like they I mean, okay,
they are who they are.
They are who they are. I mean, he helps, Mando helps Grogu and vice versa. And that was probably my favorite part of the movie is when this sort of like silent film intermediary where Mando is wounded and Grogu has to pick him up. That was a great scene. I really liked that. I liked that it took its time there. But for the most part of that, they're blasting away, going on missions. And yeah, I mean, it was fine. For me, this is kind of what it's easy to recommend to Star Wars fans because it's like, yeah, you're going to get exactly what you kind of expect. You'll have, men going on missions. This is not the kind of movie I don't know that I could say to a non-Star Wars fan, oh, this is going to change your mind on the because honestly,
absolutely not.
I also
They'd be lost.
Yes. I mean, they would be lost. And also, again, it's not the kind, if you're looking for something with narrative and character substance, you're not really going to get it with this. And so this is the irony of Martin Scorsese being in this movie, which I love that I get. I mean, I think the funniest thing to happen in 2026 so far is that Martin Scorsese, I knew he was going to be in it, but the fact that his name appears in the opening credits of a Star Wars movie, I think that is just peak where we are right now for all the craziness of the world. I think that's pretty hilarious that Scorsese is listed full, even though he's in a scene as an alien food truck vendor. I think that was pretty loud. But I bring him up because Scorsese either famously or infamously said a few years ago that he wasn't into Marvel movies because they're just theme park rides and they're not real cinema. And I disagree with that quote as a whole because when you look at an entire genre of movies, of course there are movies that fit into that. There are definitely Marvel movies, superhero movies that are just theme park rides and there's not really much substance to them, but then there are movies there that are great. I mean, I think Logan fits into that, Dark Knight,
yes.
Endgame, etc. There are ones that are full on cinema, and so that's why I disagreed with a statement like that kind of is slapped an entire genre into one kind of I think ignorant statement. But the irony of that is that this movie, I could definitely put into the category of theme park ride. I mean, it was fun. I had a good time, but
yep.
It's hard to. Yeah, I'd write it again. I mean, I probably will take because I was FaceTiming with my niece and nephew earlier, and they haven't seen it yet, and I think it's it'd be a cool one for their first Star Wars movie. So I probably will take them sometime next weekend. I'd watch it again. It was fun, but it's also not what I would call peak cinema. And I think, and that's what we'll talk about this too in our longer review as far as because I've seen those memes that are guys, let's just be happy there's a new Star Wars movie out. I'm okay, that's good. Yeah, I agree and have fun with it. But I also don't think we should lower our standards completely to just oh, it's, it's fun. That excuses, a script that could have been infinitely better. And I'll bring up too. Okay, so because this is a point I wanted to bring up with you because we've done an episode on this, but there was before this movie even came out, there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, that never works out for a TV show to have a movie come out in the same universe." That never they point to X-Files as the classic example of that. Which I guess I've never watched X-Files, so I can't speak to the quality of that movie or not. Right. And I've read, and I know a lot of the Star Trek movies aren't great, but the example I want to bring up that, defies that statement of no, you can make a great movie that's set in the world of a TV show. Batman Mask of the Phantasm is the one we've done an episode on. It is a great movie. It's, to me, the best Batman movie of all time, and one of the best comic book movies ever made. And it is not only a treat and a delight for fans of Batman the Animated Series, but that is a movie you can go into having never watched the show and fully be immersed in it and follow this character's journey, and you can follow the pathos and the heartbreak of him having to sacrifice being happy and being in love with his destiny. And there's so many great themes there's great animation, so you could absolutely make a great movie that is the product of a TV series and make it work. And it doesn't have to feel like, oh, a couple of episodes strung together. And so that's where I would say, like that, they still could have made this like really, really good. As it is, it was fine. It was fun. But it was definitely, I mean, I know Favreau said he had completely scrapped his original version of Mandalorian season 4 when him and Filoni and they had one other co-writer, Nick, I forget his last name, but anyway, who wrote this movie. They said they had scrapped it completely. I'll take that as his word, but also this was very much an episodic format that, felt, like you said, felt unfinished too. So that's where I think, no, you could still make a full, very focused movie of Mando and Grogu going on an adventure without it being, a 2.5 episode, kind of disguised as a movie.
Hey, podcast fam. Want to stay even more connected with the show? We've got you covered. Check us out on Instagram and Blue Sky, where we're posting exclusive content and bonus videos and fun updates that you won't get anywhere else. From sneak previews of upcoming episodes to bonus content, our social accounts are the best way to keep the conversation going. Plus, it's a great spot for you to interact with other listeners and share your thoughts. We love hearing from you. When you follow us, it helps us grow and continue bringing you the content that you love. Whether it's a funny poll, a quick clip from today's episodes, or just random thoughts, you'll feel more plugged into everything we're doing. So go ahead and hit that follow button on Instagram and Blue Sky. It's one more way to be a part of the show and keep the good vibes flowing. Thanks for being a part of the family, and we can't wait to see you there.
Yeah. I think it says a lot about the film that the character who goes through the most character development is someone who hasn't appeared for almost 20 years. He did appear briefly in like a Clone Wars episode, but Rada the Hutt, which I love Rada in this film, actually. The idea of where we saw him forever go in the Clone Wars movie as this pathetic little slug who was barely being kept alive by our newly introduced Ahsoka and her new master Anakin. It's a rough start to the Clone Wars stuff, but it works in the end. But to see him where he is now, the whole thing about legacy, it's not really like a main theme of the film or anything, but it's a motivation for why he doesn't want to be, what other people wanted him to be, or what they had a perception of who he would be. And his decision at the end, I was like, okay, I like with this character, we are making species multifaceted. Not all Hutts are gangsters and the like, which is an easy thing to do. It's a Star Wars and a Star Trek problem. It's like all Vulcans are based on logic, all Hutts are gangsters, so on and so forth. And to have him choose this life for himself, realize he's been tricked, and then be his own man, I appreciated that a lot. And I will say that there's prior characterization of Din that makes him do what he does in this film. Because of the whole thing with Grogu, that's why he's willing to look out for Rada as well. But I know that because I've watched a show. And if I was watching a show in sequence, I would expect that to be what happens. I'll just say great visuals, fight scenes were really great. The whole Dajaric fight gladiator scene, is it fan service? Absolutely. But you know what? It worked perfectly fine. It did what it was supposed to do. See a bunch of Star Wars monsters on screen fighting our main character and one new ally in this scenario. That was really great. Seeing now Hutta in live action was really cool. There's some implications about how the Hutts are. They're standing in the galaxy now with everything that's going on here. They're not as powerful as they seem. They're kind of a paper tiger. That was really interesting. But there's not really a lot of focus on that. The New Republic stuff I thought was good, but once again, it's hindered by the fact that the rest of the movies in this series happened.
No, totally. I was going to say, Rada may have one of my favorite new lines in Star Wars. Not that it's necessarily good, but I was audibly laughing. It was, it's hard to be your own man when you're the son of Jabba the Hutt. I was like, okay, well, that is it's going to go down in Star Wars history. Yeah. It's one of the most quotable moments. But yeah, and the New Republic stuff. So this is the other thing too. It's I know this has been done in movies a million times before where they bring an iconic actor and they promote them and everything and they're in it for 5 minutes. I thought Sigourney Weaver's character could have, it's you're going to bring a legend into that and they probably will have her more and I feel like she would have definitely been a main supporting character if this were a season of the show. But as it stands, she's in like 3 scenes maybe, and they're very short. And like, I thought there was an opportunity there too to do more of a conflict with, because they say something about like how Din is an independent contractor still. He's not working for the New Republic, even though that's entirely what he does throughout this movie. And there's no like, I thought it would have been kind of an interesting conflict if he either takes another job with like someone who's like maybe a rival of the New Republic, not an Imperial, but like a, I don't know, like some
contrasting
kind of
interest.
Yes, exactly. And, maybe if like the New Republic hadn't come to the rescue at the end, because also midway through the movie when, he frees Rada and hands them that Imperial officer, but he still, disobeyed the orders from Weaver's character. I thought it would have been interesting if like that had produced some more tension, and they hadn't sent the fleet at the end to go rescue him. It would have increased the stakes a little bit, but yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, I liked it. It was fun, and I'm okay with not every Star Wars movie being a the stakes are this could be the end of the galaxy if it's like you can have tighter missions and fun space adventures. There's nothing wrong with that at all, and this delivers
That's what I feel Starfighter is going to be like.
Exactly. And Starfighter I'm really stoked for. I really hope that's going to be, everything about it between a lot of it, not just because Ryan Gosling is like great actor and everything, but he's also, I feel like, more selective about his projects. So I think like this was probably one he really wanted to do when he saw the script, and so that gives me a lot of hope for it. And we know that there's going to be lightsabers in it, and that Tom Cruise directed the lightsaber fight. That sounds awesome. But yeah, so I just I disagreed with a lot of the overly negative reviews, but there was merit to what I saw about like, hey, let's not make this the standard of like, let's still have, a worthwhile story to tell and not make it feel like, oh, we just got to put a movie here because there hasn't been a Star Wars movie since Rise of Skywalker. And
God knows when we're getting the next season of this.
I know, exactly, and I do hope this one does well enough, because I know that I was reading something earlier in Hollywood Reporter that like the opening night was a little lackluster, but then it picked up a lot of steam over the weekend, and I am still excited about the prospect of a crossover movie that would have like the Mandoverse characters in a big battle with Thrawn. If that's good, I think that would be really cool. And I know a lot of that hinges on this movie's performance. So I hope we do get that. It would be really cool, because they have been building a lot between Ahsoka, Mandalorian, all the stuff going on there, and Thrawn's return, that I would hate to see that unresolved. Even though, obviously, he's going to be defeated because all of this takes place before the sequel trilogy. Nonetheless, it would be a really fun.
It's how it's done that matters.
How it's done, and what elements of the original Heir of the Empire will come into play. So I would very much like to see that as a movie.
Yeah.
So, cool. But yeah, that's so I think we're pretty much like in alignment there. We will do a more in-depth episode where we're talking about, hear from some other hosts of the show on their thoughts, and also like where does Star Wars go from here, and what kind of movies and shows do we want to see in the future. So we'll see what we think that the way should be, so we can slap on this is the way. But, awesome. Well, Christian, this has been a blast. Before we close out, do you have any recommendations, either from anything we've talked about tonight or something totally different?
I'm trying to think. If you're a Star Wars fan, go and see the movie. Yeah. It's like I said, it's not the best I've ever done, but it's acceptable. It's fun. Like, I don't think you'd waste your money seeing it if you're big into what's been happening. If you've been watching the show, everything that's been going on there, I think you'll get an appreciation for it. If not, like Kevin said earlier, I think if you're not a Star Wars fan, or this is not the way to get into the franchise.
Right. Oh, and I did want to say, too, I forgot to mention, the great element of this movie is the Ludwig Göransson score. Oh, my gosh, that's one of the best, in the franchise. He's just, he's easily become one of my favorite film composers now, and the way he captures kind of the elements of John Williams, but also gives it his own spin. A fantastic score. Yes. But yeah. My recommendation, though, is going to be Obsession. I'm quite obsessed with telling people about how good that movie is right now. If you're a horror fan, go see it. I would say if you're not a horror fan, I mean, it is pretty terrifying. But this is just the kind of like creator-owned passion project that people should go and support. And if you want to see an absolutely mesmerizing performance from Indy Navarrete, I think you will be blown away. So if you're a horror fan, you do not want to miss it. And if you're a casual horror lover too, I think it'll be great. So Obsession, go see it. And if you want something way less scary, then yeah, go see Mando. Okay. Awesome. Well, Christian, this has been a blast as always. Always fun geeking out with you, and I know we could go on and on, especially with all these topics. But we want to hear from you all as well. So tell us your thoughts about Mandalorian, about DC, about Punisher and Marvel, and also what you're geeking out on, because we watch and read a lot of stuff and play a lot of video games and all kinds of geek items we dive into. But there's still a lot out there that we don't know about. So please send us your recommendations as well. Come geek out with us. Follow us on social media. And again, like, rate, subscribe, review, and click on that link in the show notes to find out how to support our show. We really appreciate it. Well, remember, this has been a great episode of What's News. Thank you all for tuning in. And remember, we are all a chosen people, a geekdom of priests.
Thank you all so much for your time listening to this episode. If you want to help sponsor our show, but you can't quite do the membership thing, commit to that once a month payment, good news, you can leave a donation on our Fourth Wall website. You also can get some free content over there. So if you don't have the money for the membership, but you still want to hear some of the extras and bonuses we do over on Fourth Wall, there's an option for that. If you want to support the show without that commitment every month, again, you can donate over there. Every little bit helps. Our show has a lot of needs when it comes to equipment, when it comes to going to some of the events we want to go to, advertising, getting the word out about our show. It takes a lot, and we really appreciate each and every person who's able to help us do it, even if it's something free, just like the free membership or leaving a rate and review on our site. Every little bit helps. Your time listening to this helps, and we appreciate all of you. We're so proud of the community we formed over at Systematic Geekology, and we're very happy and we're proud that you're a part of it. Thank you so much for your time and for being a part of this community.
Hello, friends. This is Andy Walsh. Thanks for listening. If you're going to be a systematic geek about this podcast, you need to know that it's part of the Inato Podcast Network. Other shows in the network include the Whole Church Podcast, where Joshua Knoll and TJ Blackwell have spent over 7 years now in pursuit of church unity through education and conversations with leaders across traditions. 7 years, that's a podcast that has lost some baby teeth. My Seminary Life with Brandon Knight, where he began discussing what he learned as a seminary student and is now learning with the listeners in a continuing lifelong education. The Bible After Hours with the Foul-Mouthed Preacher, where he critically examines the modern church through satire, then provides a more progressive reading of Scripture. And the Homily with Pastor Chill Will from Chapel Hill, where Will Rose's homilies are periodically updated and made available through the podcast, always reminding us that we are loved with a love deeper than words. Thanks again for listening, and remember, if you're going to geek, do it systematically.